What is up, guys? Player One Gaming here. Uh, Today I've got a couple of articles I'm gonna read for you. Uh, One about the Big Ten stock report for Week 2, and this was made today, September 10th. So, uh, let's go over this. It goes over all the Big Ten teams, and this is from off offtackleempire.com. So here we go. Let's get started. That's a picture from Michigan State Arizona State game. Obviously, this is the time of the week to judge which teams have overperformed, met, or underperformed expectations. Who gets to set and judge these expectations? Me. I am an investment committee of one. Though I may deign to consider the opinions of others, truth is not the truth unless it is say it is. Apart from Michigan State, the top of the conference played preseason Whoa. Thank you, ad. Worst thing about YouTube. Apart from Michigan State, the top of the conference played to preseason expectations. The league was 8-4 in non-conference play across 13 games this week. We had one conference beat down, a Nerd Bowl loss, a desert defeat, a disappointing Big 12 rivalry renewal, and a fire in the spacecraft. Onward. So these are the teams with a stock up. Penn State, obviously, they probably had one of the more impressive wins, along with Ohio State and Michigan. Penn State had probably the most impressive win out of every Big Ten team, in my honest opinion. So Penn State, Nittany Lions. The Nittany Lions did not look like the team that struggled with Appalachian State last week, but Pittsburgh is no Appalachian State. This is a stomping that is more in line with preseason expectations. Next up, Kent State. Penn State's going to destroy Kent State. If they play like they did against Pittsburgh, they're going to absolutely demolish them. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a shutout. Maryland. The Terrapins played a version of Terp Smash against Bowling Green this week. They went full big rushing for over 400 yards and only passing 16 times. Only Turtle devotees saw it, though, as it was only broadcast on the Mizzoli television network. I did not think Maryland could handle success this well. Adding Durkin back into the mix might send this whole thing sideways. Next up, Temple. Don't mind that. Temple is next. I expect Maryland to win and remain undefeated until they go into conference play, which they probably won't be as successful. They might beat some of their lower, tier teams. I don't know their full schedule, so I think they have a pretty tough schedule when you look at it. Stock holding. Wisconsin Badgers, second verse, same as the first. The Badgers followed the usual plot of playing with their prey until it exhausted, then grounding it into powder. They will continue to improve. The loss of the two a-day practices means power running teams take longer to reach peak efficiency. Next up, BYU. Wisconsin's going to destroy BYU. Simple as that. They're going to destroy them. So Michigan, Wolverines. The Wolverines consummated an in-state sacrifice and looked generally competent in the process. This week, the Fighting Harbaughs, don't say that, move on from directional Michigan to directional Baptists that can read. We may not know more about Michigan until conference play begins. Next up, SMU. I've been told by Steeler Dude 11, my good pal, that Michigan is a 35-point favorite against Southern Methodist. Nebraska, Cornhuskers. Nebraska lost a heartbreaker to the Buffaloes. The first game mistakes were legion, and avoiding even one of them would have made the difference. A team coming off a 4-8 season lost a close first game to a team with talented, skilled players. There was a definite improvement in defensive aggression and offensive potency. Freshman quarterback Adrian Martinez, the only scholarship QB on the roster, injured his knee and his status is in doubt. Next up, Troy. I think Nebraska will be able to handle Troy. I'm basically giving my predictions for these next games. If it were anybody harder, I would probably not give Nebraska the win here. But Troy, that's not an opponent. That's a scrimmage. Ohio State. Ohio State annihilated annihilated Rutgers. I don't know what that means. This coming weekend's earnings report will help define the strength of conference narrative as the Buckeyes take on the Horned Frogs in Jerry World. Next up, TCU, Texas Christian University in Arlington, Texas. This is the TCU Ohio State game is the biggest game for the Big Ten. The toughest opponent for any Big Ten team is Ohio State's game. They have the toughest game, depending on who you talk to. I think Ohio State plays the toughest opponent, but if it were like, I don't know. Like, I don't think any other team in the Big Ten probably couldn't beat TCU, in my honest opinion. I think Wisconsin definitely could. Ohio State can. Michigan State, I'm probably not. Michigan, I guess they could. I really don't know. Penn State, I think they could too. But anyone else, not really. I don't think anyone else could beat TCU besides Ohio State, Wisconsin, Penn State, and possibly Michigan. Possibly. We have no idea unless Michigan plays them in a bowl game, but I think Ohio State I think they'll win here. I would be shocked if they didn't win. But this is their toughest opponent so far, and they still don't have Urban Meyer. This is the last game without Urban Meyer, so until they start Big Ten play, so for good, for sure, for the rest of the season, even though they already need to play Rutgers. I think Ohio State could get the win here. Rutgers, Scarlet Knights. Everyone knew this was coming, but at least Rutgers scored this year. A crucial earnings report comes up for the Scarlet Knights too. In the name of all that is big, and Delaney, please win. Next up, Kansas. At Kansas. There it is again. I'm sorry that's happening. It's always me when it's whenever I'm down here and I'm recording a video. It's when this happens. I basically knew. We all knew Rutgers wasn't gonna win this game. They played Ohio State. I think they can win against Kansas. Kansas is not a great team at all. But I think they did. I think Kansas won their game. I'm not sure. But I think Rutgers can handle it. I think they'll probably win a close one, in my opinion. I think they can win a close one. Another thing they did improve from last year, they didn't score anything against Ohio State last year or the year before. At least they scored this time. 3 points. That's a 3-point improvement. Okay, let's move on. Iowa probably had the most boring game and most forgettable game of the entire Big Ten. And I'm going to continue to say that. I said Indiana originally, but there was more points scored in that game, and it was closer. I'm giving this one to Iowa because it was a nothing game against an in-state rival, which, it should have been higher scoring. Iowa retained the Seahawk Trophy. Oh, they fight for a trophy? I had no idea they fought for a trophy. With its fourth consecutive win in the series in a scintillating showcase, the Hawkeyes scored 13 points and recorded 14 first downs against the Cyclones. Iowa is exactly the team we thought they were. Next up in Northern Iowa. So they're playing another in-state rival. I guess they're a rival. I'm not sure. This one should be an easier one for Iowa. I think Northern Iowa... Northern Iowa, that's not an opponent. Okay? I think they'll win that one. But, you never know. Oh, wait, what did it say? Is that it? Okay, no, it keeps going. Minnesota Golden Gophers. The Gophers defeated the Fresno State Bulldogs. An injury to the starting running back combined with a true freshman starting his second game at quarterback limited the Minnesota offense. Fresno scored 79 points last week. This week they scored 14. The Antone Winfield Jr. game-saving interception is a play for the ages. This is 2 highlight reel plays in 2 weeks. The kid is a stud. Next up, Miami. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, Miami came off a loss to LSU, which, my gosh, man, LSU, they are great, man. They absolutely destroyed. I don't remember who they played. I think like Savannah State in week 2. They are absolutely great, unless Miami just sucks this year, which they don't because they played their. I think they killed their second week 2 opponent as well. I don't think they played anybody any good, but I think they shut out whoever they played. Uh, I don't know if Minnesota can get the win here. I'm going to give it to Miami. Indiana Hoosiers. The Hoosiers held off the Cavaliers at home. Indiana does not look like a particularly good team, but they certainly are not horrible either. So far, they have a double-digit road win and a win over a P5 or Power 5 school in a monsoon. A win next week could see Hoosier stock move up. Next up, Ball State. So they're playing who Notre Dame played, and Notre Dame only barely beat. I think Indiana can win here, unless Ball State plays like how they did against Notre Dame. They're not going to. And this could really go either way. Illinois, Fighting Illini. The Illini beat the Leathernecks. I don't know who that is. I think it's Kent State or something. If you are in the survivor pool, congratulations. This game had a catch as you will ever see. Illinois, Edwin Carter leaped to catch a high pass, was hit and flipped, landed on his head, and still held onto the ball for a touchdown. He was led directly to the locker room with a knee injury. Next up, South Florida. Illinois will beat South Florida, and then they won't win anything else. Stock down. Northwestern. They came off a win against Purdue, which isn't saying much because Purdue is terrible. The worst Big Ten team in the Big Ten right now is Purdue. The only team that's beaten completely. I'm just gonna keep talking over it. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Northwestern. If the Wildcats move up for beating a conference foe on the road, they simply must move down for losing to Duke at home by 2 touchdowns. Anyone who watched the second half of this game regrets it. David Cutcliffe Bedevils fits at every turn. Next up, Akron. I don't know. I don't know anything about Akron. They were supposed to play Nebraska week 1. That was postponed. I have no idea how good Akron is. I guess Northwestern will win. Maybe a close one. I don't know. Purdue. Oh boy. Purdue Boilermakers. The Boilers lost to Eastern Michigan, which is sad to just say. What team loses to Eastern Michigan? I've seen it, but it's rare to see. You know, like Rutgers has. Purdue is an engineering school famed for producing astronauts, a profession renowned for precision and discipline. It is amazing that stupid and selfish play continues to doom them. 2 fouls, an unsportsmanlike celebration, and the unnecessary roughness did them in this week. A team that could be undefeated is winless and faces a steep uphill climb. I don't know why I want to say battle. Uphill climb as it moves towards October. Next up, Missouri. I don't know. It'll be a close one, I guess. I don't know, man. Finally, this is the last one, Michigan State. The Spartans lost to Arizona State. You know, arguably the most disappointing victory for the Big Ten. If you're just going to be talking about how you say just for the Big Ten network, basically, the most disappointing loss to them is the Michigan State loss. Michigan State The Spartans lost Arizona State on a walk-off field goal in a late-night desert clash. As a Nebraskan, I knew this was a scheduling mistake. Michigan State seems moribund after 2 weeks. A bye week might get things back on track. Next up is Indiana. They on the 22nd. They have a bye week this coming Saturday. They're the only team in the Big Ten who has a bye week, and they're the team that needs it the most, in my opinion. So, let's move on to what I have next, because I've got one other smaller thing I'm going to show you guys. Feel free to laud my grace, charm, and judgment in the comments. So I found this news to be kind of cool. Shea Patterson's little brother, Nick Patterson, commits to Michigan. I didn't read this, but I did see this, and that's him, apparently. When Shea Patterson surprised his younger brother Nick with news of his Michigan offer earlier this summer, the San Antonio, Texas Christian tight end's recruitment almost ended right then and there. After all, he like his three older siblings before him, was raised to have a diehard affinity for the maize and blue, but the youngest of the Patterson children still decided at that point to fight the urge to follow his heart. I want to see what school best fits me, Patterson explained, but I mean, yeah, Michigan's definitely at the tip top now. We were season ticket holders, he later added. Michigan has always been in the back of my mind. It just hits that spot when you get that offer. It's different than all the offers, obviously. While in Ann Arbor this weekend for his brother's first Michigan start, he decided not to fight that urge any longer. During a 45-minute meeting with Jim Harbaugh earlier today, the 6'3", 250-pounder committed to the Wolverines. I've been to a lot of different places, a lot of different schools, right? Right when I walked through the door, I felt like it was a different. Patterson told the Michigan Insider. It felt like home. It felt like family. I like how my brother has gotten better over the past few months there. I like my relationship with Jim Harbaugh and Coach Dudek. It just felt right. I just felt super comfortable, way more comfortable than when I've talked to other coaches and been on the other visits. It just felt like home. It also felt like a dream, especially when he saw his brother quarterbacking the program they both grew up loving. Oh my gosh, it was awesome, said Patterson. You can't tell that the stadium is that big from the outside. Then you go in there underground, and there are 110,000 people there. It just was so surreal seeing him in the winged helmet and running that offense after going to games when we were small. It's just crazy. With Patterson now in the fold, Michigan has four commitments to its 2020 class. He plans to take an active role in adding others to the mix. I'm going to be super active, he said. I'm going to get my boy Harrison Bailey. I'm going to get my boy McKinley Jackson from Louisiana. I'm going to talk to all those guys. I'm going to tell them it's family, and that it's the place to be. Now that his own recruitment is behind him, Patterson's athletic focus will shift fully to helping his new high school team. His first season at San Antonio Christian under former NFL All-Pro wide receiver Henry Ellard is off to a strong start. The versatile youngster has lined up at tight end, wide receiver, slot, and H-back or halfback on offense, and has also spent time on the other side of the ball at defensive end in last Friday's game versus Bandera, Texas. Patterson hauled in 6 catches for 90 yards before the game was called at halftime due to inclement weather. His career Michigan will likely begin at tight end or halfback, but Harbaugh and company have made clear their intentions to remain flexible with their plan for using him. That's music to the ears of Patterson's proud father, Sean Sr. He can hardly contain the joy he feels when thinking about another son donning the winged helmet. Man, I always cry, the elder Patterson said laughingly. I always get a little tears of happiness. Yesterday was a great day seeing my older son Sean there. Talking to Shea before the game, seeing Nick's eyes light up and then being able to sit with the parents and the recruits for Michigan football. I just kept having to pinch myself sitting down with Coach Harbaugh. I didn't know Nick was going to commit for sure, uh, because he is his own guy. But they just hit it off so well, and Nick decided to go there. As a family, we couldn't be happier. He told Shea this afternoon, and Shea couldn't be happier for him. He's a great student, and he is going to be the best, going to the best place. It's just a really good fit. So that's really cool. Where is he? I guess a video. If you guys can check this out if you want. That's him. That's Nick, I guess. That's cool. They said he's at tight end and halfback. So, that's pretty cool, man. I wish Nick could play with his brother, but that won't happen. He's still too young for that. Patterson will be gone by the time Nick starts to play for Michigan. So, that's really good. That's a while away, but that's good news. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have another video for tomorrow that I'm gonna do, but I don't want to say what it is yet. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.